Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to Secret Friends Unite, episode 436. This is your guide to the geek side, and I'm one of your hosts, Todd Oxtra, joined by the dance crew of SFU. That's Mr. Charlie Carden and Kae Quinn.
Hi.
What's going on?
That's the great part about video is you get to see, you never know what's going to happen. You might want to see one of Charlie's gremlins that knocks over his action figures. Kae may have an action cat show up. I don't know.
It's dogs this week. She's dog sitting.
Oh, so. Dogs.
Yeah,
okay.
It's dogs this week.
I had to suss out a cat before. I have one cat that always seems to be down here when I close the door. So, but I got rid of her. Away she went. Got unbroken silence. So, but yeah, here we go. We're headed into Kay. No intro to our show is complete unless we start talking about the weather. We're gonna hit the 90s here in Michigan. Todd's getting it's 100 out there in the Twin Cities. It's scorching.
Yes, it's just like why I moved to Minnesota. I like the heat.
Right. Oh my God. Well, if you want to talk about heat, there's nothing hotter than our Patreon. That's right. Since January, we have been creating great bonus content. Kay has often been a part of it, as well as some of the other people that you're going to hear about on this list. But if you visit patreon.com, not Patreon.com, don't misspell it like I do.
Don't go there.
But patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite, you can actually try out our Patreon for 1 week for free. Choose any tier and you will get access to our content. And Patreon is made possible by our generous benefactors on the Best Buds level, Jamie Prinky, and our esteemed BFFs, that would be the Nias family, Sean, Stella, and Henry, my dear friend and Kay's, Missy Merchant, and her pal, Andy Milliken. We are very grateful for what you guys do for us. Again, visit Patreon, not Patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite to check that out. But without further ado,
well,
okay.
I just wanted to mention, because we did this on co-op mode. We talked a little bit about the strike just up front. Secret Friends Unite. Every podcast is going to have within SFU. It's going to have their own individual stance, how they cover materials, content, things like that, which is important for every creator to have an individual voice with that. But SFU as a whole, we support SAG-AFTRA and the WGA. It's day 81 for the writers and day 12 for the actors. We have taken Patreon funds that we've received and donated to the entertainment community. This is not just for when they're at strike. This is for every day when actors who are struggling just to survive need to make ends meet. This helps. Same with writers. I heard a fact that unless you have earned over $26,000 as an actor, you do not get healthcare support from SAG-AFTRA. So that's how difficult it is. And I also saw an actor from Abbott Elementary. He showed one of his residual checks, 3 cents.
Mm-hmm. That's I don't even know that you can cash a check like that. I see a lot of those all the time. A lot of these Star Trek actors, 12 cents, 24 cents. It's not a long lasting thing. So these, we've been talking for months about our support for these folks. We wholly stand behind them. And Todd, you've provided in the show notes a link to the entertainmentcommunity.org for people who also want to donate. So please definitely take a look at that. And we hope the strike is resolved quickly so these people can get what they need. So without further ado, moving along, October 1962. And boy, what a bummer that Crisis wiped this out. Now, this is Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane. Very problematic title. Is that the name of the comic, or is this just Superman and they slid that in there for a special deal? I don't know. Take some research, but
it was a comic, Charlie. It was like Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. This was Lois Lane's comic, but you had to put Superman's girlfriend in, so people knew, I guess.
Oh my gosh!
Pulitzer Prize winning reporter Lois Lane or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yep. Her entire identity is about being a girlfriend. 2 words too. So got to keep it casual. Anyway, this comic is featuring Lana Lang's romance with Superman 3. Okay. And my favorite thing about comics from the 60s, the 50s and 60s is all of the exposition. Superman 3 off to the right where Superman and Lois are statues. Superman 3, I'm assuming, says, "Marry me, Lana, and I will give you superpowers just as my ancestor, the original Superman, gave them to his wife, Lois Lane." And her thought bubble, "How ironic. If I said yes, I'll be marrying the descendant of my former rival, Lois Lane." Now, okay.
How old is Lana in this?
She is a cyborg. She is an immortal. She's a vampire. So
Is this Lana Lang 3?
Lana Lang-
Right? That's what I was so confused. I'm like, there is so much going on here because I'm like, oh, it's in the future. Wait, Lana Lane is in it. Okay, so it's in the present. Why are there 3 Supermans?
The third?
One would assume, yeah. So that's like, it's Superman the third. Is that like, Ed Begley Jr. or
Well,
is he a junior?
At the statues, if you look at, there's like placards and it says the original 20th century Superman. And then I love Lois Lane's
Original Superman, super wife.
super wife.
Yes.
Miss-
Mrs. Lois Superman.
Right, exactly.
That's not his last
Oh
name.
my God, exactly. Yeah, it's like Spider-Man. Leo Spider-Man, my dentist?
Does
So
that mean that
weird.
Super is his first name?
Yes.
So, and last name is just Man. So is
Just
her,
last name is Man.
her last name is just Man? Whoa, Man? Oh,
Wait, does that mean that their son would be Mr. Man Jr.?
that sounds like something off the combo menu at Arby's, Mr. Man Jr.
Okay, sidebar, fun fact. I was watching this documentary. I'll talk about it later, but they showed a clip from Wonder Woman, the TV show with Linda Carter. And she is talking to a police officer back in the 40s, I guess, at the time. And what's your name? Wonder Woman. Oh, so it's first name Wonder, last name Woman. So it's a thing with DC, apparently.
They say, and what does your husband think about that? Oh, that's bad stuff.
Yes.
I don't like it. But anyway, someone who will never be held down by the patriarchy is our top news correspondent, Madam Webb, at 123 years young, down at the corner of Hollywood and Vine with all of the latest scoops. She's waiting for us, so let's go.
Now it's time for Madam Webb's rumors and news. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Webb. As Charlie referenced, Madam Webb, you would not relinquish your name. So you have essentially made every man and every one you've married, because obviously you've expanded your horizons to anyone you can victimize through marriage in every state of the union. They will all be Webb. So if you meet a person last name Webb, they probably, unfortunately, are now stuck with that name because of Madam Webb. So, give them your condolences. Even after divorce, she doesn't let that name leave.
Snagged in the web. Oh my gosh. All right. So what do we got up top?
So what we're hearing is essentially the warning bell is out across all workers in the entertainment industry. Outside of just even film and TV, it's also going to video games and other industries, animation. And that's what this is about. Warner Brothers Cartoon Network production workers are petitioning to unionize amid the Hollywood strikes. Warner Brothers Animation, if you think about Adult Swim, all those other things that are part of it, and also fuel Cartoon Network. I believe Williams Studio, which was part of Adult Swim, they just left their studios. I don't know if that's by choice, downsizing, or whatever, but they've had a very strong animation department and they've been great. Mm-hmm. And as a point, there was a petition and 66 staff members signed it at Warner Brothers and 22 from Cartoon Network. This includes digital production assistants, production managers, production coordinators, senior assistant production managers, including things that they make: Harley Quinn, Teen Titans Go, Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake. So, and the Animation Guild is calling this out as a triumph and a need to move forward, especially now with essentially workers' rights are at risk. And anyone who says unions are not necessary anymore, that's what everyone would like to believe. But backsliding, taking away wages, healthcare is never a good thing. So with this, we are hearing about other agencies within voice talent. We're hearing about this in video games. I know there's other areas within that might be represented in other areas by the Teamsters, things like that, like makeup artists, production designers, things like that. So I'm not sure if this covers everything, but with that, Kae, you come from a creative background. That is your livelihood, and that's what you do. So what's your thoughts on within even yourself, your own experiences, and what do you feel about, is you think going the right direction and think this is going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. I say the more unions we can get in this area, the better, just because when you have a CEO making 500 times the amount of the lowest paid worker, like you can't tell me that the Warner Brothers CEO does 500 times the work than their lowest paid employee. In fact, I would imagine that they probably do a lot less.
A whole lot less.
And there's this kind of facade in the creative fields of, well, because you like drawing or you like being creative, then that means I don't have to pay you for it because you're enjoying it. And so this idea that
Jesus.
right, well, I have literally
You're
had
lucky
people
to be in the industry.
I have had people literally walk up to me when they find out that I'm an artist and they'll be like, "Oh, well, you can draw me." And I'm like, "Why would I draw you?" And they're like, "Well, you like to do it. So just draw me." And the idea of them paying me for it seems absolutely absurd because they're like, "Well, you're going to be drawing anyway, so why not draw me?"
I like eating, but I do imagine that I have to pay
doesn't
for
mean
it.
I'm going to cook a meal for you.
Oh, great! Oh, cool!
Draw me like a French girl? Is that what they're essentially doing?
Yeah, essentially. So the idea, or that I would just give them something that I have created because I created it, so it should be like there's this entitlement that to the creative field and to creative people, and it really has been taken advantage of for too long. I mean, there's an entire joke of, I'll pay you with experience. Well, experience doesn't pay rent. So pay me in real money. And there shouldn't be an idea that if you hate your job, you deserve to be paid. And if you like your job, you don't.
Oh, man. I should have been paid so much more for all those jobs I hated. If you hate your job, you should quit. If you do something that you're talented at and enjoy, you should be compensated for it, regardless.
Right. Well, and if no one should hate their job. And if you hate your job, or if the environment is so bad that it makes you hate your job, then that's a problem, again, with the corporation or with the higher ups making a really toxic place to work.
Right.
I love the phrase that, well, I have to put up with this, or I'm like, so you want it, other people?
Yeah.
I mean, you want a better experience?
I paid my dues. That it's the entire like frat hazing idea of, well, I had to go through this, so we'll just continue on this shared trauma.
Right. Exactly. We should all be miserable because that's just the way it is. Fantastic.
Rising tides lower all boats. No, if everybody's doing better, that's good for everyone. It's mental health. You want people to go in these professions. I mean, it's so weird that people so undervalue artists and creatives that they don't. If it goes away, then what are you going to do? Read PowerPoint presentations for fun and enjoyment? Watch
even PowerPoint presentations take a lot of creativity to make a good PowerPoint presentation.
This is true. Yeah,
you have to know the elements of design to be able to do that.
Right. Absolutely. So
if you've ever seen my PowerPoints, you know that's absolutely true because they are horrible and they're the basics. My transition's star wipe.
I would say, Todd, I've seen your attempts to bring Madam Webb herself to life, and yeah.
Oh, that was my son. My son was helping me put the Madam Puppet on. It was horrible. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So this union goes without saying. It's like let's just restate the obvious over and over again. It just goes to serve the more people that get in line that are lining up against evil and tyranny to be particularly hyperbolic in this sense, but I'm not really wrong when you have the studio saying, well, we'll just starve them out. And when they start losing their houses, then they'll come back to the table. Wouldn't be caught dead saying something like that. It's absolutely
and
horrible.
I think that the production studios are really misjudging how the people are going to back, because I mean, we're almost 3 months into the writer's strike at this point, and I have yet to see one line of support wavering for them, because there's so much content that we can consume and so many ways that we can find things to do because there's so much content out there that we don't need new shows.
Yeah, we're gonna be just fine.
Yeah, I'd rather, fine, you're not going to make a new, Star Trek show right now. That's fine. I'll go write some books.
No, I'm just kidding. You're absolutely right. That's just the thing. I mean, you know what? There are almost 60 years of Star Trek stuff that came before. 900 hours of content, novels, books, whatever. Same thing for Star Wars, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, you name it.
I would love to know that Strange New World Season 3 isn't going to be delayed, but if I have to wait 2 years to make sure that everyone's paid fairly, or 3 years or whatever, hell yes, absolutely. I'm 100% behind that.
We'll still be here, and we'll continue to subscribe to those streamers so that those people have a job to go back to.
Exactly,
That's what I think is important. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, how long was it between Voyager and Discovery? Or no, Enterprise and Discovery? I mean,
12 years. 12 years.
Everybody's experienced a drought in the things they've loved, and we'll be fine, and we'll rediscover things we lost or missed along the way, and we'll be okay.
It will be back. All right. Well, let's we maintain our strength resolutely. And it's funny, we go on to talk about more content where just like, this will be great when it comes out on blah blah blah, if it comes out on blah blah blah. But the next thing up, Todd, this is one that you and I love. Pet Sematary Bloodlines, first look images, poster, and release date sent by Paramount Plus. So is it, yes, the Pet Sematary? They gave us some actual pets.
Yes, it's a prequel to Pet Sematary. It has Pam Grier in it. It has
isn't that what's his name? Thomas, the kid from E.T. That's the kid from E.T.
Yes, it is, and there's other people, but basically, this is about kind of talking about how Pet Sematary existed. It was there because it was an Indian burial ground, right? That's what it's all about. So obviously, it existed before Fred Gwynn showed up. This is actually about a young Fred Gwynn, which is kind of hilarious. You know, the old man that says sometime dead is better.
Dead is better.
Judd Crandall.
Right.
You know, we all remember him. Yes. So this is going to be happening, and it's very interesting. And David Duchovny is in this.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I did see Duchovny on the picket line with a great sign that said the residuals are out there. Way to go, Hank Moody. I love it.
Hank Moody. Hank Moody? No, come on, Mulder, Charlie.
He's Hank Moody to me. I love that damn show.
Really?
But anyway,
you're probably the only person that's ever said that. Yes, it's like me saying Patrick Stewart. I love you, an American Dad.
I was gonna. You know what? You see, there's. I'm not comparing the two. I just happen to love Californication. But anyway, this is great, and it will someday be produced, and it will be on Paramount Plus. And the when is
it's coming out October 6th.
It's a real show? Oh my God.
Movie. Yes, it's a real movie, October 6th. Yes.
Well, gotcha. Well, I will share this with April because she will be thrilled. April, my wife, of course, is a huge Stephen King fan. I even like the Pet Sematary remake that came out a couple of years ago with what's his butt, who was he was in Oppenheimer. He was the guy who was running the interrogation. He was the star of that.
Okay.
Film.
Okay. Yeah.
And Judd Crandall was John Lithgow.
Ah, very nice. So, Kae, where are you on your horror journey? I know we've talked about this. You were on a kick. Is it still going?
It is. We just watched One Cut of the Dead, I think it was, which was like a all one take. I think it was a Japanese horror movie, which was very good. It was very funny. But I'm going to be honest, I have zero interest in Pet Sematary just because I don't want to see zombie pets. That's just sad to me. That's not cute.
It ended up being essentially kind of a small part of the film because really the crux of the film was, a toddler got ran over and he came back to life and killed everybody.
If a cat can come back from the dead, so can my child, and it'll go fine.
I mean, and the cat, it wasn't really a big deal with the cat. The kid was more of a problem. So
yeah, but this isn't really like, even if I as I get more into horror, I don't think this would be one that would be on the top of my list.
Fair.
Just because it doesn't seem like there's a lot to it seems like it's gonna be fun, and no shame to anyone who wants to watch it because it seems like good dumb fun.
Ooh, Todd, right up your alley.
Yeah, I'm guessing no one learns mistakes because obviously no one learned mistake in the sequel when Judd said sometimes dead is better. So
right. Your lesson is always listen to the grizzly old man. No doubt about it. So October, we'll be watching this on Paramount Plus. Okay, we got a full trailer for the latest Poirot adventure. I was trying to say, how do you describe the franchise? Doesn't it have a name?
It's Hercule Poirot, Agatha Christie's, Belgian detective.
When I was describing to April, I said, there's another Murder on the Orient Express movie. I don't know, because the other one was Trouble on the Nile or something, and this was Haunting of Venice. So, but yeah, this trailer looks absolutely fantastic. More of a supernatural bent than the other ones. We've loved the other ones. I think we've seen them both in the theater, and maybe have seen them more than once. But we're getting a killer cast: Tina Fey, Michelle Yeoh. Who are some of the other faces we saw in here? I don't have the trailer up in front of me, even though I did watch
Jamie
it.
Dornan,
Yep.
Jude Hill, Emma Lard, Kelly Riley, Ricardo Scaramarico, and that's about it. Michelle Yeoh, though, she plays a medium, and this is based on Agatha Christie's novel Halloween Party. Hercule Poirot is a favorite of mine.
Yes.
Masterpiece on PBS. There's like a billion episodes with David Suchet, who is British but plays Belgian with a mustache. So
is this it's a favorite of yours? Was this like something that was on when you were growing up and your mother loved it, or do you watch it now?
No. My wife Christina was a huge fan of it, and we just started watching it. And some are shorter, some are longer, and it's just great. And Masterpiece, if you've ever watched it on PBS, the opening is amazing. Edward Gorey does the art for it, and it's really wonderful. So it's a great mood. But Masterpiece is wonderful. PBS.
Where do those stream at though? I mean, is there
primarily there's a PBS app you can get, but I think it may be elsewhere, maybe BBC America as well. They're great.
Gotcha. Very good. Cool. Very excited. So this comes out in September 15th, so it's before the spooky season, but could be seen as a kind of a kickoff. So, Kae, what do you think? I mean, this is more suspense
There was a
than horror.
lot going on in that trailer.
Yeah.
There was a lot. I was like, oh, okay, it's like kind of a Sherlock, figure out the con man thing. Oh, no, okay, it's a fancy horror movie. Oh, it's a murder whodunit movie. So I don't know where it's going to land because there's just a lot going on in that trailer.
Yeah. There's only one way. I mean, the other two films have been exceptional. So one will just certainly hope that obviously there's a framework of in essence of the same creatives. But
I'm interested to see Tina Fey in a horror movie.
I said the same thing.
Very outside her wheelhouse. So I think that's really cool for her.
Big time. Yeah, no, it's good to see someone in the comedic world kind of stretch their wings and do something new. So yeah, I'm down. Cool. Good deal. Todd, your thoughts? You like them?
Can't wait. I love murder mysteries. It's one of my favorite genres of all time. I will watch as many as they make, as long as they're good.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Awesome. All right. Well, I hear there was a little indie Comic-Con going on in California this past weekend. Todd, what can you tell us?
Well, more was shown than I thought, and that was cool. Primarily, no actors were there promoting things. It was primarily the studios, and they did have weird ways to do so, kind of like Disney is promoting Haunted Mansion, but with characters from the Haunted Mansion amusement park ride. It's very weird. They're not talking to people. They're just showing up. Same thing here. But we are getting a lot of animation was announced, which is very cool. One of the things I've been waiting for is Invincible Season 2, which now is coming out in November. But they did shadow drop, and that's kind of a theme. They did shadow drop a solo episode about one of the characters, Adam Eve. So it was a solo affair about her as a character. I haven't watched it yet, but it's out now. So I really want to see it because I loved Invincible. Great comic, great animated series. Let's see what else. We've got a new Walking Dead game. There's so much Walking Dead that I don't even know if this is interesting to anyone. It's a social deception game.
It seems like it was just kind of the con of spinoffs.
Yes.
Yeah. The kind of spinoffs that can be talked about by, studio suits, because those are the only people who could attend.
Well, we got the Daryl Dixon trailer. Did anybody see that?
I did, yeah. That and the Rick and Michonne is now going to be called "Those Who Live," which is a line from early in I think in season 3, something that Rick said. One of Rick's great lines. So those are great. Daryl Dixon, we're getting that before the end of the year. I thought.
I love it. It's like Emily in Paris. It's Daryl in Paris.
Yeah. It's Daryl, and he's in a monastery and has to rescue a kid or something. So very standard fare.
Very much Last of Us vibes.
Yeah,
quite
exactly.
Honestly.
We got to go with what works. Okay, yes. This is right up your alley. Harley Quinn season 4 next.
Yes.
No, in a couple of days.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Excited for that. I was excited for Adventure Time Fiona and Cake.
Is that a one shot, a series?
I think it might be a mini series. I haven't actually heard a lot about it. I was just like, Fiona and Cake, hell yeah, I'm there. So I'll just watch it in whatever content it comes out in.
Nice.
But even that's still a spin-off of an original series. So I feel like it's kind of just in that same vein where they're just kind of re-chewing the meals that they've already given us. And as much as I love some of it, I'm still like, okay, can you please take some more risks? Can you please, let your writers write. Let your writers come up with something and do not hamstring them into being like, well, because this made money, now we're going to make it 40 more times in 40 different ways.
Oh, so like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how do you feel about Justice League taking on Godzilla and King Kong? Because they announced that book.
Of course. No, that sounds
I mean, that at least is a little
terrific.
bit more classic comic hijinks.
Sure.
Where it's like, of course, sure. Am I going to read it? Absolutely not. Why?
Exactly. Yeah. There's a
Like, that was a
Borderlands
very
movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
go
would say
ahead.
that was just very scraping bottom of the barrel, it felt like.
Big time.
Comics, you got to just do whatever. You know, taking out a big
Right.
monster, why not?
It's all cyclical. Yeah, very much so.
We are getting a Borderlands film. This is based on a video game. The cast is just ridiculous because it's everybody under the sun. And the funny is, Kate, I'm blanking on her name, Gladriel.
Kate
Not
Winslet, not Kate Winslet. Kate. I know. Wasn't she the ancient one? No, that's Tilda Swinton.
No, that's Tilda Swinton. But
She was the
Oscar
villainess
winner.
in Indiana Jones. There you go.
Correct. Yes, I can't remember her name, but an Oscar winner in Borderlands, a movie where it's the post-apocalypse and they kill a bunch of mutants. So weird. It's a paycheck movie, apparently. Kevin Hart's in this one too, so your mileage may vary. So that's going to come out next year. Let's see. This is kind of funny because Secret Invasion is coming to Hulu. We knew that Miss Marvel is coming to ABC. This is all about
Synergize. Yeah, right.
Also making that content from Disney Plus work because they want more people watching it.
Let me dig into the bag here. Oh, here we go. They're sprinkling them. Here you go. Throw it on other networks or whatever. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's something near and dear to my heart. Spider-Man 2 is getting a custom console for the PS5. It looks beautiful. And
Nice.
because if you're a current owner of a PS5 and you don't want to spend all that money, there all the side plates, you can buy those separately.
Nice.
So
That's cool.
it's very cool.
Sold separately. Maybe that'll get me over the hump then of finally getting one. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We do have, and we'll talk about this more on Code 47, which we're recording after this, that we did get 3 different nice Star Trek teases. Season 4 of Lower Decks, which we get in September. A great musical episode of Strange New Worlds, which we will have here in probably about 2 weeks. And help me out. What's the third thing? 5-minute clip of Star Trek Discovery, which we're still hoping to see in February. Star Trek.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
Very cool. Yeah. We did get that Marvel's trailer that came out. And I'm trying to remember what the big new beats of it, because we got the original. We got more explanation of why things are happening. There was a villain who is obviously Kree, kind of looks like Ronan with the hammer. Other than that, am I missing something that was a big reveal?
I mean, that seems pretty. I mean, we already knew about the cruxes. They're all joined in energy, and when one does one, they switch places and blah blah. And that's the whole crux of it. There's a lot of footage that we got from before, like Goose, eating a bunch of stuff, and Kamala's next to her goes, "Oh my God!" That was the one that made me laugh. But that was from the first trailer. But yeah, you're kind of like, "Oh, you took everything from me," the Kree villain who hates Brie Larson. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
We will find out in November. So
yeah.
And we got not that we'll run through it, but tons of product reveals, everything from the Star Wars to the G.I. Joe to the Marvel Legends and stuff that I like. So G.I. Joe had, for me, from Hasbro, don't tell Patrick, had the nicest output of new stuff. They really had, but Star Wars, okay. I want you guys to keep trying. But no, there's and a couple of cool new things from Marvel as well.
Yeah. Anyway. There was one comic announced that I thought was just okay. You want something new? Here we go. Andy Samberg and Joe Truman are making a comic book, but this is what it's about. It's called Holy Roller, and the comic is a bowling ball wielding vigilante who fends off neo-Nazis that invaded his hometown.
I'm into it.
100%. I am there. I will definitely be reading that.
To quote Patton, "Stop drilling, you've struck oil." That
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you ever saw the movie Mystery Men, there was a character called the Boulder that was played by Janine Garofalo.
Oh my God!
It was the spirit of her dead dad in a bowling ball, and I've always wanted a skull bowling ball.
I haven't seen that movie in 25 years. What a classic!
The Dane Cook.
Ooh, what the hell's Dane Cook doing these days? Is he still alive?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows. I will say the thing that surprised me the most, there is a Mortal Kombat animated movie coming out, and it's starring Johnny Cage. And you're like, okay, what is that? And usually those movies are bad. But Johnny Cage is kind of like the jerk, douchebag guy. Joel McHale is voicing him, and it actually is damn funny. It's self-deprecating, and I'm like, is that Joel McHale? And it looks hilarious, and it's R-rated too. It's like, oh my god! So that was a surprise for me.
Good deal. Well, speaking of R-rated, before moving along, I've been bummed out. It's been a year and a half since we saw the end of The Boys, and hoping there was going to be another season. Kay, have you watched The Boys over on Amazon Prime?
No, I do not. I have not watched that just because it is very violent.
Oh yes.
So
beyond anything I've ever seen. Beyond anything I could even imagine.
Yeah, and then the spin-off, the animated spin-off, which I think is hilarious because I like how they ape things. That is even more violent because it's easier to animate things, because your budget's the same.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever watched those, Todd, so I'll have to jump on that.
They are ridiculous.
But we are getting an X-Men style spin-off called Gen V. Spinning, of course, us of the fantastic comic and made-for-TV Fox movie Gen X in the 90s, starring Bumper Robinson. And was it Finola Hughes? She was a classic.
Correct.
But yes, we watched this trailer, and it is, it's like a magenta band. It's so red. It's reverse red. What's more red than red? Did I go backwards and saying magenta? Is that less red?
Kind of went backwards. You kind of went back. I mean, red is a primary color, so you
like
can't really get more red
crimson?
than red.
Crimson or amber crimson?
Crimson is very vibrant, deep red.
How about
red is a primary color. You can't get more red than red.
I was going to say, I was thinking of burnt umbra, like the crayon.
Roy G. Biv.
You
can only go to Roy G. Biv.
Roy G. Biv.
More orange.
Yes. Okay. You're right.
There.
Okay, so orange.
I don't know.
If you want to challenge my my color theory,
there's no challenge. I'm just talking it through. But anyway,
you've got a color wheel somewhere hidden behind you.
No, it's all up here, baby. It's all up
there
here.
You go.
I paid way too much for that art degree to have to use a physical color wheel.
I was going to say, she's so full of those colors. Look at her hair. Come on. The way she doesn't even get it dyed. She just goes.
Yep. It just materializes.
Will it into existence.
Oh, now the entire pink section of my color wheel is gone because I had to put it in my hair.
But when you change
colors and redistributing.
When you change it back, does it swap out?
It does, yeah. It swaps out.
That's glad.
She absorbs color, so that thing that she took the pink from is now gray. Kind of sad.
That is case true mutant ability. Well, hopefully you don't end up in this.
That'd be really great, actually.
in this show, because this is bad. We have puppet mutilation. We have a guy putting his fist through somebody's mouth, and so much blood. And we're getting this in September. I mean, Todd, you and I love this show, so I know we're going to be watching it. April and I we liked it so much we watched it through more than once. But yeah, the original show has Jack Quaid, of course, from Lower Decks. It has Carl Urban, from the Star Trek films. But it's absolutely gruesome, and this looks much worse.
Yeah, I like the fact that it's got a pretty decent cast. Patrick Schwarzenegger's son, who doesn't look anything like him, is in this. Sean Patrick Thomas, played in Young Indiana Jones.
Right.
Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown's a legend. Gotta love that guy. And yes, a lot. And then a very good young cast, which I'm very excited about. Even one of the young students was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the Netflix series. He was the uncle for Sabrina. He was great, and I love it. And I don't even know what his real accent is. In the show, he had a British accent. This one, he has essentially an American accent. But this is essentially set in high school, essentially an academy for young, powered individuals. So it's a side we haven't seen before. And with when college kids get into stuff, things get weird. I mean, I love The Magicians, and that was essentially Harry Potter and, graduate school, and things got weird there. And sex, drugs, and magic, sex, drugs, and superpowers, nothing will go well.
I'm sure it couldn't hold a candle just to the carnage of this. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, September 29 over on Prime Video. So wait for it. All right. Well, that is it for the news. Todd, time to get out that feeble Uber app, the Fuber app. It's time to get down to Scugtown, Nastyville. The Geek Easy awaits, where we enjoy talking about what we're digging. So let's go.
Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover bands playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, Kay, you're all in the Apple TV Plus.
I am. We just got that. So that's where I've been consuming content. So I have been going through the After Party season 1, and I just finished up the first season of Silo, which was very great. Loved both of them. Obviously,
Nice.
two very, very different shows. You know, one's about being trapped in essentially an underground bunker in some sort of post-apocalyptic area.
My
and
favorite.
The other one is a fun, campy murder mystery where you break down each character's motive and alibi in a season or in an episode. So
will they be putting them together in one big show?
I think so. I think there is going to be a crossover for season 2/3 of the After Party /Silo. So
is that where the next reunion is in the silo?
The After Party
next
in the
reunion
silo
is in the Silo. Yep.
Oh my God!
Yep. It's after Silo.
Let's do
After
it.
Silo.
After Silo, like after MASH.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, I didn't hear about the After Party until season 2 came out, and it was one of the advertisements that came across Apple TV. And I will say Apple TV is terrible at cataloging their content because I feel like everything is labeled comedy just because I think they realize comedy is in right now. Because I think they have like the Dickens show is labeled as a comedy. There's another one that's like a very dry dramedy type of deal that was labeled as. I'm like, none of these are comedies, dude. But the After Party is a legit comedy. So
Silo must be a comedy. It's funny about the labeling because they've already got you. You know, just get to scrolling. Why do it right?
Be genuine with what it is because I will know if I like it or not. If I don't like it, I'm going to stop watching it halfway through the first episode, and then I'm just going to turn it off and go to a different streaming service because I'm pissed at you.
Right? Yeah, that's what these it's too inside baseball trying to label some of this stuff. But I very much want to check out that Silo because post-apocalyptic stuff. That's my April.
It's very good. I think you will very much enjoy it. It's kind of conspiracy theory, you know, and there's a couple neat twists and turns to it. Along with the, you know, classic kind of apocalypse, what's going on type of deal.
Right. Nice.
It's based upon a series of books, which I believe actually a lot of them are short stories, kind of like World War Z, I guess, in a way, maybe. That's what I've heard.
Nice. Yeah, I know that it was based off of books because Aaron had read the books before he watched Silo. And he said that he actually enjoyed the television show a little bit more than the books.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's kind of a rare thing, but that's what I think he was saying.
Yeah, Ilsa from Mission Impossible is the lead actress in Rebecca Ferguson. Yeah, and the After Party just has a killer's row of awesome and just crazy people, which is fantastic.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Yes, I will say the one kind of spoiler that I will give is John Ralphio, the guy who plays John Ralphio in Parks and Rec. He has an episode. And it's kind of a musical episode because he's an aspiring musician, and it is my favorite episode thus far. There's just some absolute bops in it. It's great.
Music makes everything better, Charlie.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll find out with the Lower Decks in a couple of weeks. All right, Todd, what do you got?
I really wanted to just cover off because we'll talk about Oppenheimer really quick together because Charlie, you and I have saw it. Obviously, it'll be spoiler free. But SuperPowered, the DC story part 1 of 3 is out on HBO Max, or Max, I guess we're calling it now.
Yes.
You know me, Charlie. I love a good kind of documentary biopic type of thing where they bring in creators, newsies, they bring in celebrities.
Newsies?
Yes,
Newsies. Hey, get your papers.
They brought in a guy from Den of Geek, so it was really cool. I liked how they did this, but basically it's retelling the story of DC Comics, which was very cool. And normally it'd be like, oh, is this like self-congratulatory? No, they got into some really cool stuff. Like they actually talked about how DC got lazy when Marvel came around. And they said they didn't realize that they should really capitalize on telling more complex stories. They dealt with the fact that DC kind of struggled when Warner Communications acquired them because they only wanted the rights to make a Superman movie. They kind of talked about how finally they covered Bob Kane finally gave Bill Finger his
The finger? Oh, sorry. Whoops.
No, his credit for actually being a prime part of creating Batman for a long time. Bob Kane had all of the rights and all those things, very similar to Stan Lee. How Stan Lee essentially has erased everybody else's legacy, and he tells good things about him, but he's like he didn't help them get anything from it. So I like because the Stan Lee episode just came on Disney Plus, that series one, and it was definitely whitewashed. It was like, Stan Lee is the greatest thing since Gandhi, and we know it's not true. So I like that it covered, and this one was really talking about the emergence of DC. That covered on Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Flash were the primaries, which was great because they did talk about like Wonder Woman's origins. They talked about the creator and with Wonder Woman, what he did and his. And people didn't really take him seriously because he had obviously his. He had an open marriage and all these things. And they were like, are you doing this because you want to just, spread the word about open marriage? Like, no, I want to come out, the masculinity has been dominating comics. I want to create a strong woman. And there's so I like that they covered a lot of these things and it was neat. There's 3 parts. So essentially the second part is going to get how they move into media. They did cover Batman 66 a little bit. Yeah, but the next one's about film, which is I like. So I like these. Nice. I think it's fun. It's an hour long each. So if you watch this, I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah, it's very entertaining.
I would say if you want to know more about Wonder Woman's origin and history, The Secret History of Wonder Woman is an amazing book to read. And really goes into his life and even like his wife and Olivia, who was his other wife / mistress. Yeah. And kind of goes into all of that. So
I know that
very, very good book.
I know that the film that was made from that, the Wonder Woman, was highly, highly dramatized.
Yes, it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't accurate.
Yeah. So even just but from the framework. So, well, cool, good deal. All right, well, I'll round us down. I, my frequent trips. I have my little travel Roku. I plug it in the TV in the hotel, and I usually turn on YouTube first. Well, they've been dropping episodes of the old GI Joe cartoon in front of me because they're all on YouTube. They have
you and GI Joe.
I know.
That's crazy. I didn't know you liked G.I. Joe.
There's G.I. Joe. There's some G.I. Joe behind me. You see that there's Sky Striker. Yes, I like G.I. Joe. But anyway, we all grew up.
Thank you, Kae, for doing that.
Yes, enjoyed. But I have managed to just let a few of them play while I've been sitting there, and I'm staggered by just how problematic the show is.
Wait, it's not better than you remember, Charlie?
Wait, what? A military show in the 80s wasn't was problematic?
I don't think that's the bad part.
Yeah, that's not the problem. Yeah, the industrial military complex is not the problem. It is the
okay. No, wait, Charlie. It's always the problem. That's always the problem.
It's always a problem, but this is worse.
Yeah, we'll move on to what I'm talking about. Was the absolutely rampant stereotypes, because we had a martial artist guy who was Asian, we had a tracker who was a Native American, and then I was watching this one episode where they're going to control these guys by kidnapping members of their family. So Quick Kick was the name of the martial arts guy. He's home in his parents' grocery store, and they go to kidnap his parents, and they both know karate, but they don't know karate good enough. Or and then Spirit is the Native American guy, and of course he goes home, and there's something ritualistic going on there.
Wait, his name is Spirit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
No. And his eagle's name Freedom.
Yes.
No.
It was worse in the comics, which are written by Larry Hama, who created the whole deal. He didn't write the cartoons. He was Spirit Iron Knife, so he had an even more stereotypically racist name.
And Larry Hama is an Asian American too, so it's not a white guy doing it, but still, he was a vet.
But again, he was a Vietnam vet, and the comic series is great. It's filled with a lot of military accuracies based on his own experiences. The cartoon is not. The cartoon is
Charlie,
absolutely
I'm just
not.
going to tell you, there's a reason why I don't watch stuff like Transformers, Beast Wars, or like the old Zoids cartoon or something, because I know it's going to be absolute dog shit. I know that. My 12-year-old self cannot handle the fact that it's going to be dog shit.
Don't go home. You can't go home again.
I don't watch those. I just don't. I remember the beauty in my mind and think about how amazing
that little movie playing on a reel.
And then you know what? If I ever think, I'm like, gosh, I wonder how that's like. I'd love to revisit those plot points. I go, no, okay, that's a bad idea. You don't want to ruin that to your childhood. You don't want to take your little 12-year-old self and bring them out into the cold light of day. You want to protect them.
It's like that great old expression about getting back with an old girlfriend. He says, "Walk to your refrigerator, open it up, take a gallon of milk that is curdled, and chug it, and see if it tastes better."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it was fine when it was milk,
Yeah,
but it's not milk no more.
But yes, so yeah, stay away from the '80s GI Joe Sunbow cartoon. There's your PSA.
Is there anything you've ever watched that you loved as a kid that's been better than you remembered?
Better? I would say maybe Super Friends is at least kind of watchable.
What?
Watchable, but it's not. I think it just gets worse. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Okay, well, that's modern. That's modern. It's probably 20 years old now.
Yeah,
I was I think like early mid-teens when that came out.
Yeah.
So I would say that one counts.
When we're talking old, that Sunbow cartoon came out in 1985, dear. That's when you were born. Sorry.
Yeah. I would say anything past like 90. I think anything past like 95 is almost more mature, but anything like 95.
It was cartoons actually for kids. All right. Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's move on from this PSA, and we'll talk spoiler free about Oppenheimer, the little movie that could. Barbieheimer, which we're going to continue to talk about that. So, Todd, you're the eloquent historian type. Give us 30 seconds on Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer is a great snapshot in time, and actually it's multiple time periods you see. Right. This movie is set in 3 time periods, essentially the recruitment of Oppenheimer to create the atomic bomb, the Manhattan Project. He's from New York, so that's part of why it was called that. In Los Alamos, he is a kid, he grew up and he wanted to live in New Mexico. That was part of his upbringing. That's why they landed there. He as a student, he suffered some anxiety and different things at one time. Even, and this is I don't want to give us spoilers about some of the things that happened. This is all based on the book Prometheus, American Prometheus, which is great. And they do cover, like I said, this time creating the atomic bomb and the team in Los Alamos doing that, where he was basically the project manager for that. Then they go forward to the time when Oppenheimer is essentially on trial, or not trial. It's a secret tribunal to renew his security clearance. And then it goes forward to another period of time where basically you get an official trying to be brought on to be a cabinet member, the Secretary of Treasury, and with Robert Downey Jr., who is that character. So those are the 3 time periods. And it's funny, they do something interesting. It is in black and white. That is not from Oppenheimer's viewpoint.
Right. Yeah. The POV is all... that's Oppenheimer's POV is all in color, and then the rest of it is not. So it's literally like you're seeing it from his eyes, though it's not,
even though it's the most modern part of the film, which I think could be a little confusing to people. And they do a great job of dealing with kind of like, and a lot of people said this movie is like, it's people in a room for the majority of the film. There's very little action outside, and the atomic bomb is a secondary part of the story. And I would say if people are hearing about how intense this movie is, it's not because there's graphic imagery. It's not because there's a little bit of nudity. I will say that. Spoilers. But other than that, it's the intensity of the visuals and the audio.
Right.
It is.
Now, Todd, did you end up with the whole IMAX experience? That was not important to me. I didn't do that.
I did see an IMAX because that was the big thing about, Christopher Nolan makes choices based on how he wants people to see the film. So I did see an IMAX because I want the biggest screen in front of me. It's great. And Charlie, you actually in Grand Rapids and Kae, you probably know this too. Grand Rapids is one of the 2 theaters in the country at Celebrations. They have a real IMAX 70 millimeter, which if you could see it, why didn't you? Because that is it's a visual feast. I mean, it's why you see film. Not just why you don't watch it on your TV.
I like the reclining seats, and then I can take a nap.
Yeah, the IMAX does not, because the IMAX doesn't.
3 hours long.
I don't really want to sit upright for 3 hours long. That feels like being in school. But you're right, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But it's a captivating film, and and again, no spoilers per se, but a perfect example of how no matter what you do, in the end of it, the man is going to get you. And it was just, we were walking out of it, April was just saying, it's just very sad. He loved the science. He was excited about the science, but they were never going to not build a bomb to drop over Japan, and ultimately that's not who he was.
Correct.
That was not what was in his heart. So it was very sad, but it was a very, very well made film. I think it cleared 82 million domestic over the weekend, which is about half as much as the film that we're going to talk about in a moment here.
I was like, Barbie did like 115. Just
no, 182.
Yeah,
162. Yeah,
162. Yeah, and I was going to say it's impressive to get people to see a movie about the making of the atomic bomb, a serious film, 3 hours. To get that many people to go see it versus a light comedy, fun property, I think that's pretty impressive. Considering if we talk about the dumbing of America and we're just going to only see like Fast and Furious, I think that's impressive. And
which is great since that film was a failure this summer. So maybe there's hope after all.
God Almighty! I think I was challenged to watch those movies, and I still like those movies. After seeing so many, I'm like, I just can't watch them. It's like my brain is being drawn out because they're not even that great action sequences. That still drives me nuts.
I say the cars are cool. You watch them for the cars. That's literally the only reason.
But I can watch cars elsewhere though.
Yeah, just watch NASCAR.
Exactly.
They're just
Vin
not
Diesel makes it so much worse.
No doubt.
Gone in 60 Seconds still way better than any of the Fast and Furious.
The Italian Job. I mean, there's so many bullets. What's it called? Baby Driver. Love that movie.
Big time. Big time. Anyway, Oppenheimer playing in theaters now, so go and go see it in IMAX. Like Todd,
and there are no pop songs in Oppenheimer. Thankfully,
yeah, you're right. There was no. It didn't end with a.
Hey, are you? Excuse me. Are you digging on Ken's?
No.
I'm just saying that was fantastic.
No, it's like the Super Mario Brother movie. It's like Take on Me. Why was Take on Me in the Mario movie? It just,
that is fair. That is a fair critique.
What would be a great pop song for Oppenheimer besides the obvious? It's the end of the world as we know it.
You dropped a bomb on me.
I think was it Tool? Here Comes the Bomb.
Here Comes the Bomb.
Could be Bombs Over Baghdad from Outkast.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my gosh! You know what, friends?
If that was the Oppenheimer soundtrack, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go see it. That sounds great.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, friends, hit us up on Discord or Twitter or X, and let us know at Secret Friends U what your favorite pop culture references for Oppenheimer should be. But with that, we have brought the Geek Easy to a close. Time to skip out on the bill. Pretty sure they spit in our food. Got to get out that Air Qantas app. Hologram Tina and the mutants do await us down in the Thunderdome, where we'll throw another shrimp on the Barbie.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Thank you, Tina. That means some men gathered for a topic or a game to be entertained. And this week we're talking about Barbie, the movie. The phenomena, the better half of the Barbenheimer, as Charlie would say, because you know what? We love marketing phenomena that I'm sure no one created and didn't make a real thing. So buy all the shirts. Yes, I have a friend who's actually bought one of the shirts that are divided and wearing it and is in New York right now. So there we go.
I gotta say, I think that honestly the best marketing for Oppenheimer was the fact that Barbie was coming out at the same time, because there was such a backlash to Barbie and people were like, no, see an actual like Emmy, like real thinker movie.
And people charge that 200,000 people estimated saw these films on the same day. Now, we did Saturday, Sunday, but some people went. I've spent days at the theater, dead of winter, go see 2 movies back to back. I get that. But in the dead of summer, I mean, it has to be something special. And
this is a whiplash of 2 movies. I mean, this is like, open face, who's your daddy type of slaps across the face, different movies.
Wait, pimp slap, bitch slap, pin slap, bitch slap.
Exactly.
You got
funny story, though. Talking to my mom yesterday. Oh, Mom, I saw Barbie. You should check it out. There's a Barbie movie? I'm like, what? How do you not see this?
You know what? If my dad didn't see it as a promotional spot on Paramount Plus or hear about it on WJR, it didn't happen.
Well, she told me she's reading. So she told me she's reading more. So I'm like, that's a good thing, Mom. I'm glad. Yeah, but you should still go see the movie. Yeah, have fun.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this Barbie movie. I will tell you the fun facts of this film. Greta Gerwig, who is an Oscar winner, has made many indie cool movies, was an actress as well in many movies as well. I forgot what like her first movie appearance was like. I think she was in like a horror film or something like that. So she's got cred. And it's kind of crazy because people are like, there's a backlash. Oh, she's selling. I'm like, no, she's having a good time and she's enjoying a big budget. You know what? Directors want money to make cool stuff. She wrote this with her spouse, Noah Baumbach, which is pretty cool. I mean, I only think of like two spouse couples that do really good work together. And that would be also, I'm blanking on her name, was in
Amy Mann and Sean Penn, or Sean Penn's
no,
Michael Penn?
Sean Penn's never been a good
Not Sean Penn, Michael Penn.
Melissa McCarthy and her husband. Melissa
Oh,
McCarthy and her
that-
husband.
Yes.
They're great. Together as a couple.
And they were in, of course, in Bridesmaids together. It was the Big Bear sandwich. You want your Big Bear sandwich? Yeah, that's what I remember.
They're great. And then this was starring Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, America Ferrera, Kate McKinnon, Michael Cera, Ariana Greenblatt, Simu Liu, Issa Rae, Rhea Perlman, and Will Ferrell. Some of those might be spoilers if you've not seen those. By the way, they're spoilers, folks.
Right. Yes. Well,
Honestly, I would say at this point, if you've gone to the Thunderdome to listen to this and you haven't seen the Barbie movie, why are you listening to us right now? Pause it, go watch the Barbie movie, and then
come back. Yeah, exactly.
Add to that $162 million domestic opening. Shell out a couple
do
of
it.
bucks for that.
Yes,
do
yes.
it. I want this to be, and of course, Todd in our summer movie challenge, John and I both picked this for movie number 8, and then this film is your dark horse. So.
Charlie, we'll get the same amount of points because you guys, it's going to go so much higher that you get the same amount of points I do. So it's a win for me because I said, I couldn't pick this film because I'm like, it's either going to do ridiculously well or it won't perform because it's been overhyped and doesn't perform. Right. But I will.
Todd, you should have asked me. I could have told you that it was going to do really, really, really well.
I was hoping. I mean, I just don't know if some people get it though, right? That's all.
I think that was definitely an issue. Is
any woman who ever, any femme presenting individual or any person who ever had a Barbie was gonna go watch this movie just because they wanted to make sure it beat Oppenheimer.
That's true. Yes.
April was a very big Barbie person as a child. She's a quasi Barbie person. She has Barbies in her office. We left this movie and drove across the street to Meyer K. You know the spot there, at Knapp and Beltline where the theater is. We bought a couple. There was a buy one get one half off Barbie special. We came home with a couple of Barbies. Yeah, go now.
Freaking A! I didn't know that.
You only get half a Barbie.
Yeah, half a Barbie.
Half the Barbie?
I did.
You have to choose.
You have to bring your own hacksaw. You have to bring your own hacksaw. You can also pick
if you just want the accessories. Like that can also be half.
Yes, there were accessory pay. But yeah,
let's be real. Barbie, half of it is the accessories.
We ended up with a Barbie with a kayak and then a Barbie mermaid. Those are in April.
I am literally going to Meyer's website right now so I can buy Barbies.
Nice.
But yes, multitask.
So Helen Mirren narrated this as well, which is very cool that we have a narrator, which is very added some context, which is great. And the movie, the good thing about this, which is so good, I love this, hearing this, the budget wasn't ridiculously high. It was like $145 million. It's made a $356 million overall domestic global, which is great because you want this to perform well everywhere. And I can give you the perspective of my wife who grew up in the Philippines. Kids overseas can't afford these things. Barbies, my wife never had a Barbie. And then when she finally came to the States as a teen, which was kind of, she aged out, she was kind of excited to still get one because she would see the commercials in the Philippines of this and it was there. So, and it was funny. I was listening to another podcast about a woman in India growing up and she wanted one, but it was like so expensive they couldn't afford it either, which is kind of crazy. So it's interesting how, knowing who this appeals to and who it's for. Myself, I had an older sister. She had the Donnie and Marie Barbies, which I thought was just hilarious.
Nice.
Inflatable furniture, which I thought was a very odd decision.
Hold on a sec. Kay, do you know who Donnie and Marie is? I that is kind of a reference.
I know it's a reference and I have heard it, but I don't know the dolls specifically.
I'm a little bit country. Todd, sing with me. You're a trifle bit rock and roll.
They had purple jumpsuits with pink and everything. It was just really weird that they did
it. No, I know which ones you're talking about now. I know which ones you're talking about.
They were Mormon brother and sister from Utah. They were from a singing family. Like they were the diametrically opposed to the Jackson 5 in that time period.
And Todd, you're bringing up a really great point, which is the stories that have been coming out about like how Barbie has influenced different people. And it's like I had a conversation with a woman who was shaving the side of my head about like her first Barbie and my first Barbie when she saw my hair. Because, for those of you listening to the podcast, my hair is currently neon pink. I specifically dyed it to watch the Barbie movie. Yes, I am that person.
Yes.
But like for me, Barbies were too expensive for me growing up because I grew up in a very rural place. And so a lot of my Barbies were the weird Barbies because I got them from yard sales. I never really got a full out of the box. Yeah, I never got a really out of the box Barbie because that wasn't something that we could afford. So all of my Barbies came like in these mismatched kind of kits in like Ziploc bags of randomness.
Like the Kate McKinnon Barbie, weird Barbie.
Yes. Oh, yes. Kate McKinnon, that was my favorite Barbie. Just spoilers. She was my
played
favorite
with Barbie.
By far. I mean,
the hard played Barbie, is that what they called it?
Yeah.
Yes.
She was there was the splits. She was stuck in the splits all the time. She couldn't move.
Every person, every kid had an overplayed Barbie. Every kid had a Kate McKinnon. I can guarantee
it. Just like every boy had a G.I. Joe they buried in their backyard.
Yeah, and with the old G.I. Joe, you had the O-ring that snapped. My brother and I did a lot where you took a regular rubber band, you had to unscrew the back and do it. So, and then they had no cohesiveness, so they were just wobbling around.
So, but yeah. That does bring, because I was thinking about this earlier and the fact that I was going to be having this conversation with the two of you, I was trying to figure out, is there a boy's toy that's kind of the equivalent of Barbie? Was it G.I. Joe or was there something that
He-Man
kind of like cemented themselves?
It was
that
He-Man.
Was like an iconic brand across like several generations.
G.I. Joe was an iconic brand across several generations. He-Man really, as to Todd's point, was really more central to the early 1980s.
Yeah.
But G.I. Joe started in the 60s, had a revamp in the 70s, became a 3 3/4 inch with that terrible cartoon in the early to late and then into the early 90s, then went away, and then it's kind of lingered ever since. But
maybe Transformers would be the one, because Transformers has so many entries. Maybe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now or Power Rangers would be the equivalent. So, but at the time, Barbie was evergreen and started it all off. If we didn't have Barbie, we wouldn't have G.I. Joe. And I would recommend everybody watching The Toys That Made Us, the special about Barbie, because there was a joke about Barbie being launched in Japan. She never did. She came from Ruth Handler, saw a doll from overseas and launched in the US. And she is a phenomenal part of this movie.
Well, back on the prior, let's not forget what really created the actual action figure market was Star Wars in 1978. And from Kenner, Todd, your favorite. Well,
I mean, in all fairness, Barbie was 1959.
Oh yeah,
correct.
No, I'm talking about the little figures, the small, because it was the 70s. It was the energy crisis, so plastic was too expensive. So make the figures little.
Yeah, Barbie, G.I. Joe, the tall 12-inch, and then definitely Barbie, and then Barbie persevered because you didn't get like Barbie 12-inch or a 2-inch, or you didn't get Barbie a Suburban Commando. You didn't get those.
Right. She's always been 12 inches, right? Oh, that sounds sturdy. That's what she said. Oh, All right,
guys, I'm just gonna head out. I'm just
fair. That's okay. I understand.
I can mute Charlie, by the way, Kay.
Maybe we should just like warn him with a mute button.
But we just mute him, but we still see his picture and he's trying to talk and he doesn't know he's muted. That'd be the best part.
Oh my goodness. Or like our friend Joe Moran who has the bleeping. He does it to himself.
Oh. Joe's got a great thing. So I think we can put some context on this because we've kind of positioned from pros and cons to just like our thoughts about the movie itself. Obviously, this has a big context of what this movie means for so many, because you can see this and people are seeing this with groups. I saw, and it was funny in Oppenheimer, I saw people dressed up in suits, which was such a weird, like there was.
And again, I think that they were doing that because of Barbie, because they knew that women like literally going to be dyeing their hair to go see Barbie.
There was a woman though with Oppenheimer wearing a suit and doing the same thing too. So it was kind of neat to see, you know.
I mean, we both wore pink. I broke out a pink shirt. April was wearing a pink dress 100%, or something.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Gotta be.
I could use a couple pieces of pink. My wife said that, but I'm so light. Pink makes me look. I don't know if it helps me or not.
Okay, I am pasty AF, and I am rocking neon pink hair right now. Do it.
Yeah, we're pretty melatonin-less, or I guess is the best term.
Pink.
Okay, you are. Absolute gem in the holograms over there. I'm very impressed.
I
I
love
like
it.
pink though. I like pink. It's a good cool.
Yeah.
I like those bright colors. So very cool. So we're getting into the movie. So this movie, I think a lot of people didn't know what to expect. I mean, that was the big thing. It's
very
like,
true.
is this going to be a Brady Bunch type of self, kind of like tongue in cheek? Are they in a different time period and they're out of place? And this movie, they kind of, and I love this because it reminds me of like the Lego movie. They just knew what they were doing. Barbie Land was a place where Barbies existed. They were all Barbies, and every Barbie was a thing. And then we had Kens that showed up, and they had their own existence. But then we had the real world, which they were aware of the real world. And in the real world, you had the Mattel executives that I don't even know what the relationship was. It's the weird part. Like, that's the one part I'm like, I don't get it, but I'm okay with that.
I absolutely adore the Lego movie to this connection of Will Ferrell, President Business, the terrible
Will
executive.
Ferrell was a fantastic choice, yes.
El Segundo, California, as I talked about last episode, is the world headquarters of Mattel. That's where April and I, because our hotel was next door when we were in LA, they had a story. I told the story about the Hot Wheels people, knife fighting each other in the aisle. Yeah, it's crazy. But rows and rows but you can get Barbies you can get it right from the fire hose there at Mattel World Headquarters. Tons of Barbies.
Yeah. So Kae, in regards to like the construct of this movie, I think everybody just said, let's just go with it. Do you think that was the right approach?
Well, and I think that there was an expectation that we were going to get some sort of like bubblegum feminism or like that pink, like a cupcake type feminism where it was going to be, delicious and rich and, with the pink frosting and the sparkles and the sprinkles. And that's what you were going to get. And we definitely did get that with this movie. And, it's kind of indicative of what Barbie is on the surface. But the great thing with this movie is that you also got really amazing commentary about other aspects of the social constructs of the feminine and masculine, especially like with Ken. There was an entire storyline with Ken and how he brought the like quote unquote patriarchy back to Barbie land.
Horses. It's all horses.
Yeah. And it's, but the thing is, it was very much this Western stereotype of like the 1970s and that big burly, like, Western
man.
Cowboy. Yeah.
The Marlboro Man.
You saw all of this, but you also got to see how the patriarchy damages everyone and how it's harmful to everyone who's involved, because all that did was hurt all of the Kens and all of their relationships with the Barbies.
Right.
And it just basically destroyed their entire civilization as we know it. Quote unquote, with the Barbie land.
Right. Well, it was a civilization. Yeah, it turned it on its ear. My very favorite part is in the inevitable comeuppance when the Barbies resumed power. There's a Ken attempting to negotiate with the president. Can we have a Ken on the Supreme Court? Oh, no, we're not going to do that. Maybe one of the lower courts. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
It was.
Oh, I say it's a lot of tongue in cheek of showing like kind of switching the narrative of being like, yeah, guys, this is what it's like. This is what happens when like, we're sitting there looking at the Supreme Court and people are being like, whoa, you want 2 women or, 3 women on the Supreme Court? Like, come on.
My God.
And, and you have that great quote from Ruth Bader Ginsburg where she was saying, when is there enough women at the Supreme Court? And she said, when there's all of them, when all of them are women, because we've had all men and there was never a question of it. So why would there be a question if it's all women?
Yeah, men who see this movie, and there'll be some women too, need to have thick skin. If you are so worried about like being offended, you know what? You just gotta take back and say, you know what? Let's just get into this, because some sense they were just like, they weren't even veiling it. It was like an America Ferrera's diatribe, and I loved her. I thought she was amazing in this movie because she brought a sense, and she's amazing, and she brought a sense of like struggling with like the reality of her life and what she wants her daughter to come into. And sometimes she didn't have all the answers. She wasn't a super mom. She was a mom, and she carried that. And I love that. And I think it's hearing those things is really important for everybody to hear and accept, not challenge, and not because you don't like it. It's reality, and it's the truth for so many. And I appreciate that.
And it showed it showed the struggle of like what a lot of, femme presenting individuals have, which is, that struggle of like, because we're supposed to be the perfect mom, but we're also supposed to be sexy, but we're not supposed to be too sexy because then we're home moms. Yep. And, and that's a conversation that has happened in a lot of like kind of feminist movies where you see that like conversation about like, oh, it's really hard to be a woman because there's all of these contradictions. But at the same time, while that's going on, you have this duality of, the stereotypical Barbie played by Margot Robbie trying to figure out how to not be a doll and what that means. So as she's going through this and realizing that she's just an accessory, and you have this kind of play out with the Kens of the Barbies literally being an accessory to their lives because they literally did not care which Barbie they had. And you see that because the Barbies literally played that against them as they're like, okay, well, wait, pretend like you don't know what Photoshop is. Pretend like you've never seen The Godfather. Those Kens were more than happy to ditch their Barbies if it meant that they got to feel some sort of fulfillment and self-importance. Then once those Barbies stopped being accessories and reclaimed their agency and they decided which Kens they wanted to go see and switch it up, that's when the violence happened. That's when the aggression happens. And that's when they literally go to war with one another, which again, then underlines like how the patriarchy hurts men because they're not able to express themselves. They're not able to have these conversations and have emotional intelligence.
I think that's a good point because it was the upside. Like the Kens were essentially, where do you go? I don't know. You go somewhere. It's always ladies' night or this like that. Yeah. And that has felt the upside. It's dudes' night. It's this is our place. So I like that conundrum. And then, we did get she did apologize because you realized, I realized that we didn't, understand you. We didn't accept you. So I think that was great that they dealt with it. Like, sometimes we took you for granted too. So I like that composition of like, how does it feel when the shoe is on the other foot? I like that for both sides. Yeah.
And they did it in such a way where Ken ended up being like Ryan Gosling's character ended up being incredibly complex because he both played the role that a lot of women have dealt with, which is that friend zone guy where he wants more and you can't give him more and you're trying to just be his friend. And you see those times where he has this temper tantrum because he's like, well, you don't love me. And what am I supposed to do? And you have to go and be like, okay, well, I'm really sorry. And you have to like nurse him through this like basically adult temper tantrum because that's what you're supposed to do. And so Barbie has to help him through that. But at the same time, they also use him as this foil to be like, yeah, guys, this is what it's like. This is what it's like when Barbie goes, I don't really know where the Kens go. Why would that be an issue for me? Why would I care? Because that's what happens because Ken at that point is an accessory to Barbie's life.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, totally.
So in regards to the way the dynamic is handled, I thought they did some great things with just embracing it's a toy in the world. Like, how did they get to the real world? They put them on the jet ski. They put them on the snowmobile, the boat, and they're wearing different clothes.
And they're great. And the call outs. Where do we get these clothes? What's happening with this? I just love the car and driving, the fact that it went like 3 miles an hour. And one song, Closer I Am to Find, for the ladies, and I wanna push you around.
Until Ken takes over.
Yeah, exactly. And anytime there's a shock, the car flips over and lands on the side of the road.
And the poof of animation, which was great.
Yeah, the poof glitter animation.
I did love Michael Cera as Alan, who, and again, every character that you saw was based on a real Barbie, and that's what Todd, this link that you gave us with all the Easter eggs and details. You've got poor Midge. I thought we discontinued her. I did love Alan when they're finally looking to escape, but they end up turning around. Alan is in the back seat, and they flip. But then he gets out, and I was listening to a podcast today. The guys building the wall were just building it straight up.
Yes. Once they figure out how to do sideways, we're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then Alan gets out, and he's just kung fu fighting he beats all of them up.
Right. But again, that also shows that like the feminine energy or, the emotional intelligence isn't restricted to just the Barbies because Alan is with them 100% of the time. He is there to help and support and he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because he doesn't want to be part of the patriarchy. He's like, this is horrible. This is awful the way that they're trying to treat everybody. And I don't want to be a part of it.
Right. It was, wow. It's incredible because rarely do you find, particularly, in this, again, bubblegum world of people who love the Fast and Furious and whatever it is for moviegoers at all, that we embrace something that is so layered, so complicated. And look at the result. You give people quality and they're going to explode all over it. They're going to gobble it up. So I'm titillated to see how big this movie is going to get in the theater.
And that's part of it is I think the part of the reason why it did so well is because, like I said, I think everybody was kind of expecting that like bubblegum feminism of like, girl power, yay. But having so many layers and nuances to it is really what's helping push it over that edge.
Yeah.
And like, I just keep thinking, I'm like, it's kind of like the pink starburst of movies where it's juicy, it's rewarding, it's fulfilling, and it's just an absolute delight. And you're super excited when you get one.
My God,
Is that the rare starburst?
That's the rare. Everybody fights over the pink starburst. What are you talking about?
Oh
That's
my
the
God.
best
I couldn't
starburst.
remember. I thought it was like the ones where it's like everything tastes the same. I couldn't remember if starburst was like
No,
they taste
man.
different.
I didn't know
No, the pink starburst are the best.
Okay.
I didn't know do they actually have goo in them? I don't know that.
No.
They're just juicy and chewy.
Metaphorically, juicy.
Is it
and chewy.
Smarties that all taste the same then?
Yeah, pretty much
Must
Smarties
be.
all taste the
Okay,
same.
it's just sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, in this movie, Helen Mirren does a narration, which is great because some of the things she says is like, even she's like self-deprecating. Like hearing this message from Margot Robbie is a little bit might have been a bad decision.
Oh, and it was so
hooting and hollering in the theaters. That was
oh my God,
bad.
it's so amazing because I have seen so many times where you have this amazingly beautiful actress sitting there going, I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel, and I'm just like, okay, I get it. I get what you're trying to say, but you also have someone who's like literally like a Hollywood
the most beautiful
star.
woman on earth. Yeah,
Yeah, telling me this. And so the fact that as she's saying this, and I'm thinking, okay, yes, I'm relating to what you're saying, but it's really weird coming out of your mouth to have Helen Mirren being like, note to the casting directors, to have this come across, having it come from Margot Robbie is probably not the best idea. And I was like,
that's not a good choice. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yes. And I know we need to wrap up, but I think the ending of the movie was a joy where you had Barbie going through her choice of where she wanted to end, and the very end of the movie, there was no end credits or anything, but what her choice was at the end was just like, I didn't know where they were going. I thought I knew where they're going, and where they ended, I'm like, that is amazing, because I don't know what magic they're doing, because she makes a point. We don't have vaginas and we don't have penises.
But perhaps her transition into the real world.
She became a real girl like Pinocchio, or became a real boy.
Yeah. Right. Well, and just the idea of the fact that, again, Barbie as the accessory, and really, I don't honestly know if Mattel realized that this was a real critique on them, because we were sold. I remember as a little girl being sold this idea that like Barbie was going to solve everything. They were literally commodifying women's issues into a doll to be like, no, just buy our toy and then it'll fix everything. Yeah. And so to have Barbie go from the accessory to being like, no, I want to have my own agency. I just want to be seen as a person. And that to me was one of the most powerful things, because so often women are looked at as the accessory to the guy's life, because we're not there. Right. They don't want us there as the person. We're just there to fill a slot. And it doesn't really matter who's there, just as long as that status is filled. So to have Barbie be like, no, we're more than that. I'm more than that. I want to be able to make memories. I want to be able to feel things and be a part of something was really, really powerful for me.
Yeah. You don't have to be exceptional. I didn't have to be an astronaut to feel like I had value. Right. Yeah,
exactly. Well, cool. All right. Well, I hate to be the one to wrap it up, but we got to wrap it up. So
you got to wrap it up, because otherwise, I mean, I could talk about Barbie. I've literally been I saw it last night, and I've literally been talking about nothing but with all of my friends since.
I love it. We're going to have to do a super special extra Barbie cast just for Kae. All right. Now, we'll go best movie ever, worst movie ever. Best movie ever for me.
That's so random. I know that's such a weird thing, Charlie, from the podcast.
This is 10 out of 10 Ken or G for me.
Yeah.
I will just say I'm Ken Enough.
Yeah, I'm Ken Enough. I'm Ken Enough. You can get it from Mattel, $60. I'm not doing it.
Oh damn! No,
I know.
I'll get something off of Etsy. I want to knock off. I'm not giving Mattel that money.
Bootleg it.
Why did they make this movie? Money.
Yes. All right, friends. Barbie is playing in theaters currently. Go see it. Go see it in IMAX. I don't know. Do they put it out in IMAX? That'd be great if they did.
I don't know if they did or not.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. Kae, thank you for joining. I mean, Kae's one of our stars. She's barely joining us. She's part of the family. But where do they find you out there, Kae?
You can find me on Instagram at Quintessential Geek, and then you can find me on Twitter at QTGeek. That's Q_T Geek. And I might answer you. I don't go on social media a lot, to be completely honest. I think I have Twitter notifications on though, so hit me up. I think I'll see it.
It could happen if you want to talk more about Barbie. Todd, what about you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter which is formerly Twitter, X. There at Teoxtra, but I'm trying to get more on Threads. I know it's a little weirder at this point. Threads doesn't support GIFs, Charlie. Sorry. So it's kind of like you're not in your wheelhouse. It also doesn't have DMing. It's lacking some things, and also puts you right in the threshold of, I'm got to look at Beyonce's posts. I don't care about Beyonce or like anyone with a 3 billion followers.
We get all of your information, so it's great.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so that's a hard time. But I do want to have a place to reach out to new people. So follow me there. Threads. Secret Friends Unite has a Threads location as well as Instagram. So reach us out because we want to find new people to talk to and new geeks to geek out with. But other than that, that's where we're at. So check us out there.
Absolutely. And of course, our Discord is also another great place to find us if you're listening to the sound of our voice. But I am over on X/Twitter at the C3. Go ahead and spell it out. My lovely wife, April, and I, and Kay is a member as well, do run the USS Grand Petoskey. That is one of the largest chapters of Starfleet, the international Star Trek fan club in the world. I also actually run Region 13. That is Michigan and Eastern Canada. If you're a Trekker within the sound of my voice, would like to meet other Trekkers and dance, just like my partners are doing right now, visit our website, drop us a DM, and we can help you out with that. Todd's doing the sprinkler. With that, I hate to bring this dance party to an end, but I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring and to keep on trucking.
Be the hero, not the villain.
And wherever you go, go boldly.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow at Secret Friends U on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.